Hello, everybody, and welcome to my orientation presentation on the development project for the WHO ICF Core Set on deafblindness. I would like to start out first by giving all of you a big thank you for your interest and also for dedicating the time to know more about this project. And I hope that by the end of the orientation, you will be motivated and part of the team, and we will look forward to working with you. I would like to begin by acknowledging that I speak to you today from Montreal, and Montreal is located on unceded indigenous lands. The Kanien'kehá:ka Nation is recognized as the custodians of the lands and waters from which I present to you today. Tiohtià:ke, or commonly known as Montreal, is historically known as a gathering place for many First Nations. Today, it is the home to a diverse population of indigenous and other peoples, and I want to express my respect for the continued connections with the past, present, and future in our ongoing relationships with indigenous and other peoples within the Montreal community. Now, to conduct our project, it takes a village. There are a lot of forces and people that have come together to make this a reality. And so I want to start out by acknowledging some of the most important partners. I want to start with saying thank you to Deafblind International, specifically Ricard Lopez and Sonia van der Molengraft, who are representing this organization. Ricard himself initiated these efforts. Sonia is now helping him with the management of the project. Deafblind Ontario has stepped up to help us financially. I want to thank Reno Minhas and Roxanne Spurtrock specifically for supporting this aspect of our study. And then, of course, we have the team at the University of Montreal, which includes me, Atul Jaiswal, and Abhinitha Paramavazivan, who is working as our research assistant on this project. I also want to mention Sarah Granberg, Karen Keys, and Sarah Fraser, who are part of our advisory committee. So, what is the WHO ICF? So the World Health Organization developed the ICF, or the International Classification of Functioning, Disability and Health, in 2001. And it is basically a conceptual framework that helps us to measure health, disability, health, ability. It combines perspectives on body functions and structure, activity and participation, its interaction with environmental and personal factors, in order to give us a global image of a specific health condition. This was officially endorsed by all 191 members of the WHO, and it provides us with a common language to communicate with each other around the globe in any specific context when we talk about health. A core set. What is a health core set? So the ICF uses standardized terminology and classification terms. And a core set of these that is selected from the ICF categories is used to classify an entire specific health condition. So in our case, it would be deafblindness. And so we're interested in what are the terms, classifications, and categories that we would use to describe deafblindness specifically. This will facilitate a systematic and comprehensive description of the condition, but it also can serve as a minimal standard for the assessment and documentation of functioning and health around that health condition. This is often used in clinical studies, but it is also used in comprehensive single or multi-professional clinical encounters. So this has applicability in research, but also in practice. The core set was developed a little while ago in the context of hearing impairment, and the team that was led by Danemark at the time put together a beautiful overview of what the steps are to develop such a core set. So usually we start out with a systematic peer review, and here we're really interested in what kind of information has been captured about functioning with a specific condition from peer-reviewed research studies. This is followed by a qualitative study where you are exploring the same perspectives, but now from the viewpoint of people that are living with this health condition. So in our case, the qualitative study will involve people that are living with any level of deafblindness. This is followed by a Delphi exercise where we're specifically looking at the clinical perspective and at the perspective of people working with this population. Finally, we have a cross-sectional study that then examines what the most common aspects of functioning and problems are in this condition. And that is followed by a consensus conference where all of this information is then finally integrated. I am now talking to you today about the systematic review, since we're at the very beginning of this process, and it is during the systematic review that we're asking for your help. So what would that look like? The first thing that we're doing right now in my lab is to conduct the actual search for the materials, for the articles, for the titles and abstracts of all the peer-reviewed studies that are out there. We then have to go through all of them to screen all the titles and abstracts. Each title and abstract has to be read by 2 people, and the choice of whether a study is in or out in our selection progress has to be cohesive, and both people have to have the same judgment. We can teach you more about this process once we go forward. But this is where we basically need your help. This we're planning on doing during the months of April and May. And then, in case you're interested and motivated to follow the other steps of the systematic review and you want to get involved more, all you have to do is let us know. There will be screening of the full text articles that are chosen during the screening of titles and abstracts. We will then be extracting data and using linkage codes in order to identify the core set. And finally, we will summarize our outcomes and write probably several articles that will be based on this data set. And all of this we will be working on during June, July, and August of this year. So now what? You've completed my little orientation. The next step is that I would like you to get a better understanding of what the ICF is. And it turns out that the ICF is available as an e-learning tool online with multiple chapters. We believe that chapters 1 through 4 are likely the most informative at this point, and this is available for you free online. The second step will be that you will need to know a little bit about how Covidence works, which is the software that we're using to conduct our initial screening. And again, there's a mini training available online provided by the Covidence people themselves. It takes about 15 minutes. Once you have completed these steps or you are comfortable with these components, you want to contact me by email and you want to let me know that you are now ready for the next step, which is a 1-hour session over Zoom where we will provide you with some specific training to our project, explain exactly what we expect during the screening process, and then we will take a little bit of time to actually do some question and answers and try this out live. This is a Zoom session that we will tailor in such a way that we can cover as many time zones as possible. I thank you ahead of time for volunteering to be part of this project. I think it is very much worthwhile. We have a great opportunity here to change how deafblindness will be viewed in the future, both clinically as well as from a research component. And I look forward to hearing you. Meanwhile, for those of you who have access and interest in some of the research literature of how this was done in hearing loss, I will provide you with some of those examples. If you have access problems because you may find some of these things are behind paywalls, please get in touch with me. I will see whether I can help. So I will let you move forward with the other suggested steps. And once you're ready, I look forward to hearing from you. Bye now.